Well, I, if weather doesn't go well, that's
Launch
going to be
director in a
pretty
countdown
boring
net.
today.
We continue to violate a couple different weather rules that we now do not expect to clear in time to allow for a launch today. We'll go ahead and end today's launch attempt. Launch control, if you would end the launch auto sequence and proceed into the launch abort auto sequence, please. Launch abort has started.
Well, that's pretty boring, guys.
In Dragon SpaceX, unfortunately, we are not going to launch today. You are go for 5.100 launch scrub.
That sucks. I was really kind of hoping to see it happen
5.100,
today.
it was a good effort by the teams, and
But
we
yeah,
understand, and we'll
This
meet you
weather's
there.
been nasty lately.
Copy all.
Everyone I know seems to be getting the weather moving across that way. Like across the whole country, just as of lately. But yeah, that's boring. Guess that was a flop. Come on, phone.
And for clarity, we are scrubbed for today's launch attempt. Dragon SpaceX for propellant offload status.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, sir. So we're at 75% on the fuel tank for stage. LOX was up to 69%. On the second stage, we're at 97% more.
With 2 astronauts on board has just been scrubbed, postponed due to inclement weather around the Cape Canaveral launch site in Florida. Liftoff had been scheduled for 4:33 Eastern Time.
Wow.
Just moments from now, but storm clouds and lightning in the area has forced a delay the launch Saturday. Tom Costello is at the Kennedy Space Center now with the very latest. Tom?
Well, this just happened within the past 90 seconds or so. We were within 17 minutes of lifting off here on Launch Pad 39A, the historic launch pad that sent Apollo astronauts and Space Shuttle astronauts into space. The rocket fully fueled with 2 astronauts, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, both strapped in and ready to go. But the weather has been dicey all day today. And in fact, we've been dealing with squalls and high wind and rain and thunder and lightning. And it was lightning just literally minutes before that 17 marker, lightning off to my left. That probably was the defining moment. They had to pull the plug on this. They have very strict weather parameters. They cannot violate these weather criteria because you're opening yourself up to any number of problems as the rocket is lifting off and headed for the space station. And so now, out there on Launch Pad 39A, the astronauts are still strapped in, and they're going through the very meticulous process of taking the fuel off of the rocket. That's going to take some time, as you know, to do that safely, and then eventually they will take both of these astronauts off of the SpaceX rocket. That means now that the next attempt to launch is going to be on Saturday and then Sunday. And interestingly, the launch director said if we could just have 10 more minutes, we might be able to wait this out. The trouble is they have a very, very tight window. They have to launch at exactly that second so that they can eventually intersect and head right up to the International Space Station. They had hoped to hit that at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Time, and now that's going to have to wait. By the way, this comes just as President Trump had pulled in behind the camera. There's a building. President Trump had just arrived to watch this liftoff, and Vice President Pence is also here. So a disappointing day. Predicted though, Lester, because we've been dealing with volatile weather all day, and we're probably really in the best weather we've had all day. The lull of the day is right now, but lightning off to my left, and that's probably what ended up being the defining factor for canceling this liftoff today, Lester.
Yeah, safety number one, of course. Tom, thank you. Al Roker's been following the weather at the launch site. And Al, it wasn't just the launch site. They've been watching weather up much of the East Coast as an important factor in all this.
That's right. We had a tropical storm this morning, Tropical Storm Bertha. But as Tom mentioned, and we've been talking about this all day, there was a 60% chance of these thunderstorms happening. And so 60% chance of this launch not happening right now. Take a look on the radar, and you'll see there's Bertha right now, 65 miles northwest of Charleston, South Carolina. And as that system pushes off, here's the latest on the radar. As we look, you can see, here they are. And look to the west.
So
this is just past Orlando. We are watching this line of showers and thunderstorms starting to fire up. And in fact, here's the live radar. And we've been watching this line build up in the last 20, 30 minutes. So I don't know, even if they had had another 10 or 15 minutes, Lester, whether they would have made it. This is very volatile. You see the lightning strikes out over the ocean and lightning strikes back to the west. It was dicey from this morning. And unfortunately, it looks like now the weather caught up with them. But as you said, safety first. It's not worth risking the lives of those astronauts and all the work that's gone into this launch. Lester?
Yeah, space will still be there on Saturday. Joining us now from Houston is astronaut Michael Fink, a spaceflight veteran who, as a mission specialist aboard the shuttle Endeavour in May 2011 for the second to last ever shuttle mission. Colonel, great to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Tell me what it is like to sit there waiting for a launch that may be a go or no-go right after the last few minutes.
Hey, Lester, good to see you again. And just wanted to say that, on STS-134, the second to last shuttle flight, we were halfway to the launch pad, and we had to turn our Astro van around because we scrubbed. So I know Bob and Doug are disappointed. I know their families are a little disappointed, but everybody knows it's for the right thing. And so they're going to wait till a few things happen so they can safely exit the spacecraft, and they're going to go back into quarantine. We'll stay in quarantine, and looking for a launch on Saturday around 3:22 p.m. And sometimes it's best just to live to fight another day.
Yeah, the defueling that's going on right now, if that's the right phrase, this is potentially a little dicey in itself, is it not?
Well, it's explosive fuels, right? So yes, but we've practiced this, and SpaceX. A very nice thing with them and the Falcon 9 is they practiced this maneuver before. They load the propellant on typically very late compared to what we did with Space Shuttle and other rockets. And they densify a little bit their so they make it almost slushy, their propellant, so it's extra cold. But they also know how to get it back out and make it safe so that the crew can exit the spacecraft. This was one of the first things we asked them when they proposed their plan for densified propellant, how we would handle scrubs. And today they're going to execute it by the book.
All right. Well, I know you were excited to see it. A lot of us are. But as I mentioned a moment ago, space will be there on Saturday, so we'll just wait for that moment. Colonel, thank you for joining us. And to repeat, the launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket with 2 astronauts aboard has been postponed due to bad weather. Another attempt expected this Saturday. I'll have complete details, and we see you a bit later tonight on NBC Nightly News. For now, I'm Lester Holt, NBC News.
Jeez, Lester. Well,
you're watching NBC News now. We've got some breaking news. If they do go back
to their jobs, you want to make sure that one. Maybe we'll try again next week. Or, I mean, not next week, but on Saturday. I'll see y'all. Have a nice one.